So finally, last but not least, certainly not least, I'm going to introduce Leigh, who is going to talk about the protected characteristic, care experience becoming a protected characteristic. So yeah.
Hello everyone, my name's Leigh. You'll have to excuse my accent because I am from Bradford. I'm a care experienced young person who also won YPBMF Champion of the Year last year. Thank you. So today I'm going to be talking to everyone about protected characteristics for care experienced young people, and rather than me explain why we're talking about this, I'm just going to play a video from an interview I did with BBC Look North earlier on this year, so hopefully this is going to work. I went into care when I was 15 years old after a failed suicide attempt and a massive relationship breakdown between me and my parents, and I was taken into the care of my local authority. No one had kind of explained to me what was going on. It was just one minute I was at home and then the next minute I was waiting for a social worker to come pick me up.
Leigh went into foster care and was then placed in supported living accommodation in Bradford at 16, but told me staff weren't always around and the young people there didn't feel safe.
There was a lot of drug use, a lot of criminal activity, a lot of exploitation. There's something that a lot of us young people who have lived there say, that it is the place to send children to die, and that's not physically but that's emotionally. And just within ourselves we don't feel human when we leave there. We don't feel supported at all.
Now 21, Leigh works with young care leavers, but has sometimes felt discrimination simply because of growing up in the care system.
My landlord at the moment doesn't know that I'm care experienced, purely because I was scared that he would tell me that he wasn't going to rent to me. I once had an employer tell me that if he knew I was care experienced at the time, he wouldn't have hired me, because there's such a bad stigma around the care experience. Everyone expects us to be drug users, to be criminals. We're just a number in the system to so many people, when actually we make up such a high percentage of this population, and I feel like we have so much to offer.
After an independent review, today the government's announced what it's calling plans to fix children's social care. For care leavers like Leigh, it's going to increase the leaving care allowance from £2,000 to £3,000, and it's investing £30 million in befriending and mentoring programmes. The review suggested care experience should be a protected characteristic, like a person's age, gender or religion, but that recommendation has not been accepted.
In my opinion, the fact that they're not accepting it is saying that they're not accepting the responsibility of the children that are in their state. It was this government and our councils that decided that our parents weren't fit enough to look after us. So what are the government going to do to make sure we're provided for? What are the government going to do to make sure that we have every start in life that everyone else can?
With record numbers of children in care, more and more young people will need support as they leave the system. But for many of them, they have never felt like a priority. Emma Glasby, BBC Look North, Bradford.
So I hope that explained things a little bit. So some of the experiences that young people are facing in terms of discrimination include being refused private rented accommodation purely because their previous address was a children's home, being refused healthcare when they've been moved out of authority. For example, if a young person is on the waiting list for CAMS and they are moved out of authority, they are then placed to the bottom of the waiting list of the CAMS in that authority. Places like employment, a lot of employers, they see the care experienced and they just don't want to know, because like I said in the video, there is a big stigma around the care experience. Also as well, criminalising care experienced young people, especially within children's homes. A lot of the problems that young people face in children's homes, if they were in a typical family, they wouldn't have the police called on them. So why are we criminalising our young people at such a young age? In May, we did an event in Brentford, which was our YPBMF South event for our young people. And some of the views that we gathered from that event was, I think it would be great to stop care experienced young people being scared to share their circumstances with potential employers and landlords, etc. And somebody else also said, I believe we deserve equal opportunities, the same as everyone else. It should not matter what our past looked like, and we should be able to focus on the future. So, for the local asked, at the moment there is a campaign to make the care experience recognised as a protected characteristic amongst local councils, since the government have said we don't want to do it. So do you know, has your council passed it? I believe we are on over 40 councils that have passed the motion now. I believe if you look at all the work that Terry Galloway has done, he has a big list of all the councils that have passed it. If you have passed it, what are you doing to implement it? Do your leaving care teams know that it's been passed? I know personally in Bradford we didn't know. Do your housing teams know what this means? Do they know that it means they have to start including young people in the equality and diversity impact assessments, I believe they're called? Have you discussed it with the young people in your area? Do they know what this means for them? Do they know what it protects them for? Have you developed policies and procedures to coincide with the passing of the motion? But if not, if your council hasn't passed it, then why? Why are we not writing to our MPs to request the motion is developed and with care experienced young people at the heart of that decision and heard at council meetings? So if you've not passed it, I do urge you to write to your MPs to make this conversation, well, start the conversation really. And then for the national ask, we want to reopen the discussion in government with local authorities and young people about making care experience a protected characteristic. We want the government to pass this. Like I said in the video, we didn't choose to be put in care. We didn't choose for these experiences, but yet every day we are discriminated against and we have that held against us for no reason. So why is this still happening? Hold national events to discuss what this could mean for young people, what we could be doing to support them better and to shield them better from this discrimination. Maybe consider pilot schemes to explore how local authorities who have already passed the motion are adopting and implementing this. Let's not have a postcode lottery like we do with the setting up home allowances. Let's make it sure every young person who has care experience, no matter what age, is protected from this discrimination. And I just want to add, this does include qualifying young people as well as former relevant. So thank you. I think I'm passing on to Matt.
So that is the last of our 5 presentations, another fantastic one, and one we definitely do need our online viewers to help with.